Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. So this time around we've got another food tutorial. I decided to come and share with you guys this goat curry recipe. It's sort of similar to how I make my oxtail recipe. Oxtail recipe for oxtail curry, but this is just with a different sort of kind of twist. So I've already had my onions, garlic, ginger, Scotch bonnet, tomatoes, red chilies all chopped out, blended out. You can blend out the ginger and the garlic if you want to, but I just grated them out. Then I'm using all my seasonings, guys. This is the garlic, ginger and pimento powder. If you haven't got access to the fresh ginger and garlic, because with the way situations is, ginger and garlic are literally selling out fast. So this is all the ingredients I'm going to be using and adding to my mix, as well as this curry powder. I got this curry powder from Amazon. And this is my goat meat. My goat meat, this cost £5. It was a little bit expensive, but this is actually goat meat on the bone, so it's not actually like, goat meat beefed. It's like on the bone, and I like it with the bone because when you cook it, it just it's so nice. So yes, this is everything I'm going to be using. As well as that, I'm going to be using some fresh herbs, some fresh leaves, which is like rosemary, coriander and parsley. These are optional. I couldn't find fresh thyme, so that's why I'm going for this. And obviously spring onions, or scallions as some people will call it, is very important. So I'm going to start off by adding some salt in my curry. I'm always very careful when I'm adding things that has high salt content, because I don't want it to be too salty. So I go in light-handedly first, and then as I taste it, as I go along, I then add more to it if I feel like it's needed. So I've added all-purpose seasoning, some salt, I added some ketchup. Ketchup is about a tablespoon of ketchup, a little bit of cumin, about a tablespoon as well of tomato paste. This is optional. If you don't want to add the ketchup and the tomato paste, you could obviously skip this step. Then I'm going to add in some thyme, some dried thyme. Like I said, I couldn't find fresh thyme, so I'm using dried thyme instead. I went to add that twice with no luck. Then I'm adding some whole pimentos, or 5 spices, or something. Or yeah, some people call it 5 spices, but it's pimento anyways. And I'm using about probably 8 to 9. Then I'm adding just a tiny little bit of Chinese 5 spice. Personally, I like my food to be aromatic, to have a lot of flavors, as opposed to having so many seasoning inside. So I'm big on flavors, and then obviously seasoning and spices, they all interlink with each other. And I'm going to add Maggi. I use 2 cubes of Maggi, not 2 packs, 2 cubes of Maggi, and this Maggi was rock hard. So so I had to use a knife to literally, like, because I didn't want to melt it down in water or anything, because there was a little bit of water in when I washed out my goat meat earlier. So I didn't want it to have too much water. So I had to use the knife anyway to obviously cut it in. Then obviously I did that. So I did that, and then I'm adding my curry powder into this mix, and I just added roughly about 3 to 4 tablespoons. Yeah, that's the measurement I'm going to advise you guys to try or to use, depending on the quantity of your goat meat as well. And I'm going to add in all my onions, my Scotch bonnet, my garlic, ginger. I use fresh garlic, I use fresh ginger, my pimento berries, everything like that. Then I go in to add bay leaves. Bay leaves you can add at a later stage, but the reason why I'm adding bay leaves now is that I tend to forget to add bay leaves when I'm making my curries, and it's so bad. Like, I just love the flavor and aromatic smell of bay leaves. So that's why I'm adding it now. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this up in cling film, and I'm going to put it in the fridge and let it marinate for 24 hours. Then the next day, obviously I've prepped my pressure cooker, because I'm going to be making this curry in the pressure cooker, because I work from home, and cooking in pressure cooker has been a lifesaver. So I'm going to then start off by frying the goat's meat, and what I'm doing is I'm gently putting the goat's meat in one by one, and I'm stirring it so that it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pot. So once all your goat meat is added in, you then stir it around. At this point, it's starting to caramelize at the bottom of the pot, which is fine. Then I'm going to add in all my green herbs. So that's the scallions or spring onions, not rosemary, that's thyme and coriander. And I'm just going to mix that in. I added a little bit of brown sugar, about a tablespoon of brown sugar, just to add a slight bit of sweetness to it. And then I'm just going to mix this around, and as you can see guys, it's starting to caramelize and starting to cook. Then remember the mixture from earlier, when we marinated the day before. That does not go to waste. Nothing goes to waste in the kitchen, okay? So I'm going to add in a little bit of hot water into this mix, and then this is what we are going to be pouring into the curry. So now as you can see, this is looking so juicy guys. This looks so good. And then I'm going to add in the water. And now once we add in the water, I'll put in all the veggies inside, and we are just going to let this boil. So this is slightly boiling now. I'm not going to let it boil for so long. I only let it boil for about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to transfer it into the pressure cooker. I brought it to the boil so that what has caramelized at the bottom, all the flavors will be able to get into the juices and it'll be able to flow in and bring all that flavors together. Then I'm going to add it into my pressure cooker, and I'm going to leave that in for a good couple of hours. I'm going to leave it for the first 2 hours for it to just slow cook. I changed it from high heat to low heat to cook. So it's been an hour and a half that it's been cooking in the slow cooker, and as you guys can see, it has, it's starting to, come together. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some potatoes, and potatoes I'm using some Maris Piper potatoes, and I just cut this into like almost like small medium chunks, because obviously it's pressure cooker, you just want to make sure that it's cut in a really nice chunk so that it can cook quickly and properly as well. And then I'm just going to cover it, mix it and cover it. If you do not have a pressure cooker, that's fine. You could just use like a really nice casserole pot and put it on low heat. I mean low heat, and make sure that you're constantly checking up on it so that it doesn't burn. Yeah, so this is it. After about, I think, 3 hours, the potatoes are cooked, the goat curry is looking juicy, everything has come together so nicely. This is full of some veggies, some your protein is in there, everything is so amazing. And I feel like this is the time that it's good to try it out, because people who's got kids, I'm sure you guys are experimenting with a lot of menus right now. Not everyday rice, especially if you're African, that would tend to eat a lot of rice, but this is a definitely good variety to spice up with rice. You can have it with naan bread as well if you do not want to eat rice. Naan bread is beautiful with this. And yeah, that's all I did, and I served it with plantain, rice and peas, and I took you guys to Jamaica, take you to Jamaica. Anyway, thank you so much guys, so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll put all the full list of ingredients in the description box, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.